Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monte Belmonte.
Later in the show, the spectacle in the skies that no one can see because of clouds and that somehow we are less enthused for reasons. Mr. Universe bemoans the waning popularity of comets.
Plus, we managed to badger resident wordster Emily Brewster, senior editor at Merriam-Webster, into ferreting out some animal verbs.
And we were supposed to have 11th Hampden District State Representative Bud Williams come into the studios today at any PM to talk about the Springfield preliminary election. But then yesterday afternoon, a 3-foot water main broke in the wooded section of a street that goes right behind my house. And the rest of the evening and this morning has been a blur of emergency notifications.
So instead, we go to the representative who is on the scene in his district.
Hey, Bud Williams, how are you?
Hello, Representative Williams. Thanks for doing this, given the circumstances.
Right.
So I'm Monte, and you're speaking with Khalees as well. And
Hello.
Khalees is, you represent her in your district.
I am in your district. Not too far from where this break actually happened. Actually.
St. James. The break was on St. James, I guess.
Yeah. So that big Y is my big Y.
And that's where the main happened, a 36-inch main water break behind the big Y on St. James. Oh, yesterday afternoon.
About 3:30.
Representative Bud Williams, who represents the 11th Hampden District in the Massachusetts House of Representatives on Beacon Hill, we had hoped to have you in to talk about your new election to the chair of the Black and Latino Caucus, which we hope to have you back soon to talk about that, and maybe to talk a little bit about the preliminary elections yesterday, and hopefully we have a second at least to talk about that. But because of this major water main break in Springfield, the mayor, Dominic Sarno, declared this morning a state of emergency, and as a boil order is in effect. Khalees woke up this morning not having any water or being able to take a safe shower. So tell us, Bud Williams, what you've been doing as a state representative representing a large swath of the district that's affected by this boil order.
Well, first of all, thanks for doing the interview. On yesterday, the mayor, late last night, declared a state of emergency with the 36-inch high-pressured main in a wooded area off St. James Avenue, is my understanding. Mm-hmm. It's going to cost us millions of dollars for the infrastructure to get it done. So with that state of emergency, the cooling centers normally are open during when it's either too hot or maybe when it's too cool, like the Raymond Jordan Center, the libraries. And what we're trying to do is get bottled water, case of water to the seniors within our district, those who cannot get out and get to these stores. I think by now some of those stores have sold out of bottled water.
Yeah, I was seeing that this morning.
Yeah, they were racking up, man. So the Health Commission, Helen Colton, several sites across the city will be distributing bottled water. And I thought it wouldn't be robbery for me to, at least get into the district and go to some of our senior places like the Independence House, the Costello, Bergen Circle, the Motorcycle Building, to make sure everything is under control and make sure, the landlords are trying to do everything they can do to facilitate for the residents.
Where is this water coming from, Representative Bud Williams? Is it is the state bringing it? Is it emergency water that the city has?
Bottled water, we have it. You have the water department has a lot of bottled water.
Oh, yeah, okay. Just on reserve for a situation just like this?
I mean, because most of the time when we have community parties and community days, they always bring out bottled water to give out. Mm-hmm. The water department does. They do a great job in public relations. So a lot of it is coming from the water department. A lot of it's coming through Health and Human Services. A lot of it's coming from private, landlords and tenants. We just got to make sure that each and every citizen within Springfield, and particularly the 11th Hampden District, that if they don't have access to water, we got to make sure they get it. So my staff, my phone lines are open. We're just calling and checking with people because this is, and the ironic thing of it all is that, I mean, a lot of people went to bed last night not even knowing.
Yeah.
And when they woke up this morning, it was very chaotic all over. I mean, no school and.
Because school was canceled in places in Springfield because of this water main break in the state of emergency.
Yeah, yeah. But no school. They decided last night late yesterday evening not to have school, which I thought was a very good decision.
Yeah.
In terms of no hot water, the health thing, and you're still dealing with COVID-19 at the same time, and you can't wash your hands. Well, I guess you can wash your hands.
Like if they've got like meal programs there and they can't cook, or it's going to take like that much longer to do, like that just ends up adding minutes to every child's day. That's just like that no one has.
That was because some of our local restaurants are closed. Some of the Dunkin' Donuts are closed. Some of the Starbucks are closed. Some restaurants are closed, and I guess I got a email a little while ago. Some of the Burger Kings and the McDonald's and the Taco Bell, they have a very limited menu because the preparation with water can't be done. So
the mayor of Springfield, Dominic Sarno, declared a state of emergency because of this water main break that happened behind the Big Y on St. James yesterday. Any idea, Representative Bud Williams, what caused the water main break?
We have a very, very old, fragile system in the Commonwealth and in Springfield in particular. I mean, we could get a water main break every other week, basically. Too much water, system just can't handle it. And this could happen. You remember a few years ago when we had all the main breaks downtown Springfield on Main Street and Worthington Street. It's a fragile system. The infrastructure. I wish we could just go in and re-gut the whole infrastructure. These things have been around for hundreds of years. Our infrastructure. I mean, it's very fragile, and it's and when they go, that's when we go and repair. If they don't go, we just let it keep going. But we want to thank the DPW, Springfield Water and Sewer for the hard and the good work that they do. Because at the end of the day, we have a very good system in Springfield. Some of the best water in the country is here, and then we provide Ludlow with water also. I don't think West Springfield only in emergency situations have they tapped into our water. So it's just Springfield and I think parts of Ludlow with the water main. But we won't until the state comes in. They're gonna take a couple, at least 2 tests on the water. The first test is positive or negative. They do the second test. We do the second round, then they declare, okay, it's safe to drink the water. That could happen until tomorrow sometime. At least until tomorrow the ban is on, is my understanding.
That's really fast for a 3-foot wide water main. Like, I wouldn't have expected it to take that short a period of time. I was expecting to need bottled water up until like Friday, Saturday. That's cool.
But you could be right.
No!
You could be right. I mean, they're just. I hope not. But they're saying the first information we had was hopefully by Thursday, if everything goes as planned, and we won't know that until Thursday comes. And you just don't know.
Right.
I hope we're wrong, because the longer it goes, the worse it gets.
We're speaking with Representative Bud Williams, who's from the 11th Hampden District, representing parts of Springfield, who's under a water boil order right now because of this water main break. And you mentioned, Representative Williams, that you were specifically reaching out to the senior citizens that may not have the ability to get out, to get fresh water. What should people do? What's your office number if people are listening to this and they need assistance from your office in particular?
I got a point person, so I'm going to give you their number.
Oh, good.
They're handling them. 413-246-1403.
Great. So if people are in need of assistance and can't leave their houses in Springfield, that's the direct line to get to Bud Williams, point person for this water main break.
There was no preparation for it. I guess that's the long and short of it. No one was prepared.
It seems weird, though, that would happen, like, especially after they'd had breaks downtown, like, to look at the system and be like, okay, well, we know that this is fragile. I guess we'll just wait until the next break happens.
But I think the unusual piece with this piece is that typically when we have a water main break, it doesn't compromise the drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
See, when we had downtown, I mean, they shut the water off. The water pressure isn't where it should be, but there was never ever. This is the first time I think that I remember in my recollection that there was a water boil ban with a water main break. We had one. They pretty frequent, and this is the first time I can remember that we had a ban. I don't remember. ever have in the bed. Usually the system isn't compromised. The drinking, the thing is the drinking water is at Bondi's Island, water sewer. So all the runoff, anything water runs off in the streets into the sewer, to the storm drains, they go over to Bondi's and they have to filter it, right? So when they filter it, then they make it clean. But I guess this got compromised somehow, and I have yet to be told how. But I have never, to my knowledge, never ever remember having a water ban because of a water main break. I know the pressure. Now yesterday, we got because it was election day, but the pressure went in Springfield yesterday.
Yes.
There were pockets in the city that didn't have water. Because I got a couple of calls during the 16 acres, parts of 16 acres, the water pressure was off. Some parts of Indian Orchard, because I got a couple phone calls. So it's really because I was out during the election, so we were out running around, but later on, when we got the intel, it came back and you found out there were pockets in the whole city, from McKnight to way out on Parker and Wolverham Road, then over on Indian Orchard side, Berkshire over in there. I mean, that was like a Bermuda Triangle, here, there, and over here.
We appreciate that you ditched us today in the studio for this important emergency with a state emergency in Springfield to do the constituent service. We hope to have you back to talk about the Black and Latino Caucus and some
absolutely.
the things that you're really focusing on Beacon Hill. But very quickly, before we let you go, thoughts on the preliminary election yesterday? It looks like City Councilor Justin Hurst and Mayor Dominic Sarno. Your thoughts on the Springfield mayoral election? You were a candidate for mayor yourself before you were a representative on Beacon Hill.
Yeah, it's I think they all ran good, credible campaigns, and the voters have decided that it's going to be Hurst versus Sarno. It should be very interesting. And running from mayor, it's tough. It's a citywide election. It's a one-person vote. It's not a city council vote where you can vote for 5 individuals or vote for your at large. So hopefully we'll stay tuned.
All right.
Are you encouraged by the fact that it was one of the higher voter turnouts for Springfield?
In certain areas, I was a little disappointed. I think it was probably 13% turnout. I would suggest to you that in some of our more urban areas of the city, the voter turnout wasn't at 13%. When you get out to East Forest Park at 16 acres, they probably voted closer to 18%. And we get into the inner city of the city, I don't think that turnout was even 10%. So no, I'm happy that people came out, made their decision, but we always want to encourage more participation in the process.
Yes.
And the primary is probably, well, I'm not going to say it's more important than the general, but the primary determines who goes to the finals. And some people don't think primaries are that important, so a lot of people stay home.
Do you think City Councilor Justin Hurst has a fighting chance against the incumbent, Mayor Dominic Sarno?
Yeah, he's got to make the case. Sarno, I think he's got almost a 20-point victory. That's a large obstacle to overcome, but it's not insurmountable. It just takes a lot of work. And remember, it's a sprint now. You got 6 weeks, basically, 2, 4, 6 weeks in the election, so you don't have a whole lot of time. And I think Justin is young, energetic. He's going to work hard. But Sarno's been around. He loves what he's doing. Matter of fact, last night, I think he came to his victory celebration a little late because this was all going on.
Yeah.
So he had to go deal with this at the same time.
Well, it's good that he did so, because if he hadn't,
it would have been an even bigger problem.
Optics of that are real bad if he shows up on time to his party.
But people. I think some people in this campaign were a little. It didn't feel too good about that, but at the end of the day, you're still mayor, and this was really an emergency. This wasn't one of those going for some show and get a photo op. This is serious business. When you start talking drinking water, that is serious as it can get. It just really is. That's vital to all of what we do: food preparation, drinking, showering, brushing your teeth. So he did. I think he did the right thing. I think the city responded. They responded quickly. I'm just this thing happened at 3:30 on yesterday afternoon. I only took 8 hours to determine. And like you said, in some parts of the city, water pressure was gone. I don't know if the water was compromised at that point, but yet still they said, okay, this is 11 o'clock at night. If you prepared anything after 3 o'clock today, don't use it, throw it out.
Yep.
8 hours later, a lot of people have absorbed. They've been drinking water. They've been cooking, food preparation, and what have you. So
Yeah. And there's been no
It's
health response about that afterwards either, so it'll be interesting to see that too.
yeah. Okay, thank you, folks, for showing some interest. I'm going to go pound the pavement.
All right.
Good
Thank
luck.
you, Representative Bud Williams, for chiming in and for the work that you're doing to try to make sure everybody's getting water in your city.
Okay, thank you.
Parts of Chicopee, Ludlow, Wilbraham, Longmeadow, and East Longmeadow have also been affected by this water main break, but the Springfield Water and Sewer Department has a tool on their site that you can use to determine if your address has been affected, and we'll post that information on our podcast page.
Soon, and other things the weather has ruined for us, stargazing. A whole comet came through and we missed it due to cloud cover. Mr. Universe, Hampshire College astronomer Dr. Salman Hamid will talk to us about how we all should probably be more excited about comets.
And up next, we fish around for animals we use as verbs with word nerd Emily Brewster.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on NEPM. It was fun being at your birthday party at the Rendezvous the other day, Emily
Happy
Brewster.
belated birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, my birthday was actually in July.
Oh,
Happy extra belated birthday.
weird.
Thank you. Yes, I did celebrate on Sunday. So.
NEPM's own Peter Sokolowski from Merriam-Webster was there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him hanging out as a human being except for at our
wine thing.
wine lovers dinner there.
That was
so-
6 months ago.
I know, right? How did
You
I
get to hang out with him twice a year. That's your quota.
How did I do doing my karaoke version of Neil Diamond's I Am, I said?
Oh, yeah, you totally ruled. A masterful rendition.
I am, I said.
This is happening to both of us.
Yeah. Franklin County resident and summer birthday person, Emily Brewster, resident wordster from Merriam-Webster in Springfield. We got an email from Ed in Agawam. We've talked about this email on the show before. He says, love your show. You guys rock. My friends and I have been using fox as a verb for quite a while now. It's a way to describe friends or family who drank the Fox News Kool-Aid hook, line, and sinker. Oh my God, Suzette got foxed so badly nobody even calls her anymore. They foxed the country so bad people are ready to start another civil war. It almost sounds like a swear, which is part of the reason why I like it. But Khalees, you have been coining an animal verb yourself that we've been using in the office lately. Do tell.
So both Monte and I have somewhat mild cases of ADD. And so when we initially go to do something and then something else will distract us and we immediately forget about that first thing we were trying to do, I've been calling it goldfishing. We'll say that like I meant to do that, but I just goldfished. And we understand what it means.
Because goldfish,
Nice.
as many people know, allegedly have a memory that lasts like 2 seconds, and then see Finding Nemo and the Dory character.
Yes.
I suffer from short-term memory loss.
I don't believe this.
No, it's true. I forget things almost instantly. It runs in my family. Well, I mean, at least I think it does. Can I help you?
Something's wrong with you.
Is this a common thing? Not so much that we're coining our own words, which I know we do sometimes.
That's the nature of language, to
and
coin terms,
yeah,
and
language
then have
speakers do
them
all the
catch
time.
on and become part of the actual lexicon.
But what about verbing animal names like goldfishing?
Yeah, oh, there's a long, long history of doing it, and it makes perfect sense, right? In some ways, it's a function of anthropomorphization, right? We are impressing on the creatures around us qualities that we have, or we're recognizing in them something that seems analogous to what we behave or what we know, and then we use them like metaphors.
Our listener, Ed Nagawam, foxed. That's one that's already being used, not necessarily in regards to the television network,
Right.
but getting outfoxed is something that we've been saying for quite some time, I'm sure, right?
Right. To be outfoxed is a much older use of it. Late 19th century is when the term outfox came into use. But this is a different use that
Right.
this listener is talking about because it doesn't relate to the animal, although I assume the network name, originally traced back to the animal.
I guess 20th Century Fox, since it was their TV division and then became another entire thing. I'm not entirely sure how the evolution of that particular network came about, to be honest.
I don't know, but I mean, but it's clear, and it doesn't really matter, right? The association is with what the function of the network is right now, or what it is perceived to be in this particular way, right? This is not about the television shows, it's about the news programming. So it's a very particular application, but the term, as they've coined it and are using it, it's got a lot going for it because its meaning is pretty transparent in context.
If you are a big fan of Rachel Maddow and you believe everything she says, maybe you get peacocked.
Maybe you do, yeah.
Monte is the coolest, funniest, most handsomest person I have ever or will ever know, even though I'm super famous now.
But we do have a long history of verbing these animal names.
What are some fun ones that maybe Ed Nagawam wants to include into his use of fox as a verb?
I happen to like squirrel.
Squirrel!
I get accused of squirreling things because I'm very good at finding an object that is not where it belongs and then putting it somewhere and then often forgetting where I have put it. You're squirreling things away. This is something that we all do.
I even have a dear friend who I refer to as the wine squirrel who was guilty of doing that very thing, squirreling wines away. What do you squirrel away? Words, Emily Brewster? What do you have hiding in the corners?
I do squirrel away words sometimes, yes. No, in my family, the most famous thing that I have ever squirreled away is a pair of boots that I bought for my son when he was like 3 years old. And I bought them at the end of the winter season. They were on sale and I bought them for the following winter season and I squirreled them away and no one has seen them since.
Oh my.
And he is now 12. They are gone. Nobody knows. So now when I can't find anything at home, my family says that we all say that it's with the boots.
I love that.
Whatever it is that is missing, it's with the boots.
What are some other fun animal verbs, Emily Brewster, resident wordster from Merriam-Webster in Springfield?
I think badger is an interesting one.
Oh, yeah. So funny.
If you badger someone, you harass or annoy them persistently. I think this one is interesting in part, or especially because it doesn't have to do with the behavior of badgers. A squirrel, we know why we say that people squirrel things away, because we observe squirrels taking acorns and hiding them away so that they can eat over the winter. But the verb badger has to do with the sport of baiting badgers with dogs. Huh. So it's actually the badger who is being harassed.
Oh, no. Now I feel so bad about this.
I know, right? Yeah, so when you're badgering someone, you're really being like a dog going after a badger.
Doggone it. Well, that's not a verb.
Ferret is also a pretty interesting one. That also is from hunting. Ferrets were previously used to flush out rabbits and other game animals that had burrowed underground. So you would send your ferret down there. And that's how the verb ferret came to mean, to find and bring to light by searching.
We will ferret it out. Using literal ferrets. Mm-hmm. We need to do that more often. They're cute.
They are cute. They smell terrible, but they're really cute.
Yeah, I think they're legal in Mass now.
They are.
What are some other animal-related verbs, Emily Brewster from Merriam-Webster?
Oh, snipe. Snipe. There's snipe. It's a little violent, to shoot at someone from a concealed location.
I never even thought about that as an animal. I don't even think I think of it as an animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is.
A snipe is it's a kind of bird.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Slender-billed bird of the sandpiper family.
Did you use the slang version of snipe when I was a smoker? If you put your cigarette out, but we're going to finish it later, we used to call it sniping it.
Ooh, no.
We'll have to use it in published and edited text and get that in the dictionary from my old neighborhood gang who used to do that.
And you know about the colloquial use of it for dating, right?
No, do tell.
It's seeking out somebody in the crowd that you like and or blocking your friend from getting somebody that they were interested in.
I can think of rooster-related verb that we could use here that I think people would not want me to say on the radio.
That I think I was carefully trying to avoid saying. I do believe.
Snipe might be a much better way to say that. Other fun animals that are verbs now, Emily Brewster?
Oh, well, there's weaseling, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Weasel your way out of something.
Yes.
Right. It has this association of sneakiness and insincerity. And, it's like weasels, I guess, they appear very sneaky and weaselly when they are preying on other animals. They can squeeze their way into a chicken coop, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And somehow do it less cutely than ferrets, so we hate them.
Yeah. If weasels were just a little bit cuter,
we wouldn't mind.
We wouldn't mind so much.
I don't know if I could tell the difference between them in a lineup. I don't think
they're much bigger.
Aren't they scarier? Aren't like Fisher cats a type of weasel?
Yes.
Those
Fisher
are
cats are a type of weasel.
As anything I've ever heard or seen.
It's literally
fisher
just
cats are
size.
scary.
Like it took me years to realize that ferrets were ermines, and ferrets are tiny weasels, and when they get smaller, it's just cuter.
Yeah. What about things that we use more frequently, like bear? I used bear as a joke when we were talking about the promoting this show today, that I'll have to bear with it. Does the
Or you grin and bear it?
Or grin and bear it. Does that have an etymology that has to do with the animal, the bear, or is that have more to do with the TV show, The Bear?
Say yes, chef. I'm so tough. Yes, chef.
Or that just comes from a totally different place?
Yeah, they are two distinct etymologies. So the animal traces back to an Old English word, or it has a relation with an Old English word that means brown. Its Old English relative meant bear, it referred to the same animal, but then that word shares an ancestor with the word for brown.
The animal one
And
has to do with the
the
color
animal
brown.
one.
Okay.
Yep.
Not bear, like
Yep.
what can brown do for you, and like UPS bears your packages to your house.
No, they're separate. The verb comes from an Old English word meaning to carry or to bring forth.
The swiftness with which my brain imagined what that commercial would look like.
with a big bear,
With the bear and the packages.
dressed in a UPS outfit, bringing packages to your house. I'm here for this.
Another one that doesn't have any relation to the animal is cow. If someone is cowed by something, they have lost their courage or their resolve.
Huh.
I'm a cow. I'm a cow. I'm not a cat. I don't say meow.
That is unrelated to the animal cow. So you can't blame that on any cows.
Too bad, because that one definitely sounds like you would think that one came from the animal. I don't think of cows as the bravest of animals.
Oh, they are sometimes
Right.
aggressive, though.
Yeah.
They can be threatening.
Especially the
Which
bull
good for
aspect
them.
of the cow.
They've been through a lot.
Yeah, I learned this in my walks in high school. I had to walk across the prairie that my high school had to get to the bus for my internship, and the herd was inevitably in the space that I had to walk across, and boy, are they fast. And sometimes I would just barely outrun the real curious ones and like launch myself into the water ditch to get away from them. Fun times in Khaleesi's teens. Do we get to count fishing as one of these words?
With a PH?
With the
Sure.
PH.
Well, I mean, it's informed by the animal. I was going to talk about catfishing.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
let's
another
do
one.
that.
Is, that's even spelled like it's very much it's a definitely a verbing of
Yes.
an animal's name.
And
Yes.
it's not dissimilar to fishing with the PH in regards to what you're trying to trick somebody.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Talk
right.
to, if people
Yeah.
aren't familiar with catfishing as a term, as slang, and as a animal verb, what is catfishing?
It means you're deceiving someone by creating a false personal profile online. So it could be on a dating app. You can come up with a completely false persona, and you're using that to bait someone into giving you money, or I think it's usually money, right? They're trying to defraud someone by using a fake profile. Yeah, it was 2010 that Ariel Schulman released a documentary called Catfish. It was about his brother's experience with a woman who had pretended to be someone else online.
Hey, Megan.
Hi, how are you?
Your voice is not at all what I expected. I mean, she must be pretty awesome, at least from Facebook.
So it's really that documentary maker who coined the word.
Do we know why they chose catfish? Is it because it is a fish that's pretending to be a cat?
Well, it had to do with how fishermen transporting live cod would put catfish in with the cod on these long haul shipments so that the cod would stay active and alert.
Not so that they could
Yeah.
change like the weight of the amount of fish they were bringing in or something like that?
No, no. It's weird, right?
It is
Yeah.
weird and interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting that a documentary filmmaker decided to go and pick that animal because of that, and it's now common parlance as far as I'm concerned.
It seems funny that it would be that and not like its connection to canoodling, which is a bizarre practice.
Wait, what does catfish have to do with canoodling?
So it's a method of catching catfish where you use your limbs.
Oh yeah, like hillbilly hand fishing they call
Oh.
it. Yeah, there's both documentaries on the catfishing in regards to the scamming people thing and on hillbilly hand fishing.
Yes.
Hillbilly hand fishing.
This is just not natural.
He's got my toes.
I didn't know it was called canoodling.
Yeah,
though.
called canoodling.
It seems gross. You
Canoodling.
stick your arm in
You
the
stick
mud.
your arm or a leg and you wait for the catfish to bite and you hope that you catch the catfish before you lose something.
Yeah, you pull it out that
Wow.
way.
So this woman who had catfished the filmmaker's brother, her husband said that she was analogous to the catfish that are kept to keep the cod lively.
Wow.
Doing a service, I guess, by
Wow.
keeping people on their toes.
That's toxic.
Yeah. Any other fun ones? Emily Brewster, resident wordster from Merriam-Webster. Animal verbs we're talking about today, thanks to our listener, Ed from Agawam, who suggested that he's using the word foxed in regards to people who've been perhaps duped, depending on your political bent, by Fox News.
And then I have a question about usage.
Okay, we should mention, if plagues can be fun, which we all know they cannot be really, but rat is a verb. If you rat out someone, you inform on them, you tell authorities something that they have done. And this probably goes back to the role of rats in the Black Death and the Great Plague. They had fleas that had nested in their fur, and then that spread the disease. And so nobody likes rats.
Would you tell on somebody that had the plague, and that's why you ratted them out because they got the plague from a rat? Or I don't understand how it evolved to us.
Right.
It
It probably has more to do with idioms like rats fleeing a sinking ship. This idea that rats are not faithful, that rats are going to turn on you and maybe kill you.
Rats.
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 What was your usage question?
Are many of these used in non-gerund form? As we have ratting out and catfishing and weaseling. Clearly they can be used in other ways, but it seems as if the gerund form of these is the more popular or widely used.
I'm not sure that I think it is really.
Okay.
Like if I think about somebody weaseled something out of someone, a true gerund would be the subject. It wouldn't just be in the ing form, but it would be in the subject position of a sentence or a clause.
Right.
So, weaseling out of things is my specialty, for example. Then that would be a gerund.
Don't we know it?
That is not true, by the way. I should get better at weaseling out of things, actually.
Like this show.
Oh,
yeah.
But it's so fun to talk about words.
That's one of our favorite segments.
I'm not trying to weasel. And then parrot, I don't know. Somebody is parroting back things that they've heard, aping the movements of somebody else. I think that they really do function as true verbs a lot of the time.
Well, we hope that Ed in Agawam feels that we have egged on his curiosity.
That's a food verb.
Well, but it's kind of like a baby animal almost.
It is an unborn animal.
When it comes to the word fox as a verb in describing people who are devotees to Fox News. And if you're like Ed from Agawam and you have something you'd like to address with the word nerd, send us an email to fab413@nepm.org, and you, as the listener, and Khalees and I will both fawn over our favorite word nerd, Emily Brewster.
More baby animals as verbs.
Good one.
On the way, our waning interest in comets with Mr. Universe Salman Hamid. Don't worry, I still love you, comets.
We'll always have Haleys. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on NEPM.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Time for some more kitchen table astronomy with Hampshire College astronomer Dr. Salman Hamid, Mr. Universe. We bumped you from your regular Monday slot this week to focus on farms, which was all very good, but we also robbed you of an opportunity to see something incredible in the sky, or at least at a time many humans would have thought it was incredible in the sky, and now we're all like, meh, what's the latest TikTok video? What did we miss this week, Mr. Universe?
So there is a comet that was recently discovered. It's nicknamed after the discoverer. It's called Comet Nishimura. Named after the discoverer, who's a Japanese amateur astronomer who discovered the comet just this past August. And it has brightened up. It is coming close to the sun. Actually, in fact, just September 12th was its closest distance from the Earth. And September 18th would be the closest to the sun. And this is the first time we know that this comet is coming in. But now astronomers have figured out its path, and it looks like it has a period of about 400 years or so.
So we missed it, and we have to wait 400 years to see it again?
Yes, that is correct. But that's at the point. What I was intrigued by, the weather. It's been raining.
Yeah.
And it was visible in the northern hemisphere, sort of like right in the pre-dawn time. So and it would barely be visible with the naked eye, but certainly with a binocular. Or with a small telescope, you could see this green-colored comet. And that would have been cool, but I don't know because it is not clear here. And especially in the New England area, you go like, all of these phenomena, oftentimes they go by the cloud side.
Yeah.
So anyway, probably it's not going to be visible in the northern hemisphere anymore. It's going to make a pass close to the sun. And of course, it's pre-dawn because it's very close to the sun. But then it's going to be visible more from the southern hemisphere on its way back out to the outer solar system. To me, I was just thinking about it, how comets, the arrival of comets, the detection of comets, has played such an amazing role in human history. And here we are talking about it. Oh yeah, there was a comet that kind of came, that was detected. Oh yeah, by the way, and it's going back out the solar system, and it doesn't matter. There was just a little bit of, maybe it's my age, it's the midlife crisis.
Kids these days don't care about comets like they used to.
It's just this ruefulness in terms of that we are not connected to nature in the same way. And of course, if you and I were having this conversation, say, for example, 500 years ago, we would have to shout very loud to reach a lot of people. So in that sense, I mean,
hear ye, a comet hath arrived.
But anyway, so this comet, it has a green color. We didn't know why some comets have green colors, but a couple of years ago, there was a paper that actually showed sort of that this is sun's radiation that hits the head of the comet. And there are these diatomic carbon atoms, or molecule, that two carbon atoms combined. And when it gets excited, it actually gives light in the green light. And these diatomic carbon molecules are only in the head of the comet, so the head is green, beautiful. And then you have a long tail, which is not green.
That's cool.
So so there are a lot of cool things to say about it. It's a small comet. We think it's going to survive the passage close to the sun, but there is also a chance because it's small. Maybe it will get sort of shattered. We don't know. But
because this is, like you said, just discovered in August, named after the amateur astronomer in Japan who discovered it. What's his name again?
His name is Nishimura. But there is a really cool aspect to it. And astronomers now think there is a small meteor shower in December. And it's called Sigma Hydraids. So meteor showers are when the Earth, going around the sun in its orbit, passes through leftover dust from previous passage of comets. So we just go through, and those tiny little particles actually burn through the atmosphere, dust particles, and we see them as shooting stars.
That's why we can predict when there's going to be a meteor shower. We know when we're going to pass through the Halley's Comet tail,
right.
And then we can say the Perseids are going to be this time of year because we know that's when we'll be going through some other comet's tail.
And we also know that that's the time to make wishes because, of course, these dust particles are the ones that make all of your wishes come true.
When you wish upon a star.
The shooting stars!
But in this case, they think that this small meteor shower in mid-December is because of dust left over from this comet. And so here is a beautiful prediction and test. If that is true, then we are going to see sort of brightening up a lot more meteors in mid-December from this meteor shower because the comet has just passed through.
That's cool.
So this is sort of here is your own science. Do your own science.
It's fun because it's so cloudy, so rainy, we probably wouldn't have actually been able to see the comet all that well this week anyway. But the meteor shower gives us more of a chance, and we're more prepared for it because it's happening in December. This comet that we missed this week was just discovered in August. Let's say, hypothetically, there is a comet we're going to discover, but its orbit is directly aimed at the Earth. That would not go over very well. The dinosaurs experienced this for us 65 million years ago. What's the likelihood that there is a comet that we don't know about that could be on track to destroy us all? Not that we're trying to celebrate the beauty of comets here, but they may be out to kill us.
Well, as they say, when it says awful, that is full of awe.
Yeah.
Right? So destruction, that would be pretty spectacular destruction.
It would be awful. It would be terrific, which would also be full of terror.
That is one of the problems with comets. If you think it's a problem. And that is, there are a lot of programs to detect threatening asteroids. And from small ones from half a kilometer up, NASA has a directive to that. And astronomers have been pretty successful in looking at those asteroids that cross Earth's orbit and so on and so forth. Comets, there is always a problem. So, of course, we know comets that return and things like that. But then there are a lot of comets that come for the first time. because they come from the outer parts. The Oort cloud, for example, this is an area where a lot of these comets are. They can be bumped in their orbit and start to come in. Or they can have long periods, or like, for example, in this case, it has a 400-year period, but we didn't know that it has come here before. So to your question, absolutely, that can happen. And they can come from any side. I mean, it's not like, hey, let's keep on pointing our telescope in this direction. No, they can be coming from any side, including from behind the sun, for example, like on that side, which would be harder to detect. So people do try to look for it, but are we 100% sure this is not going to happen? No. That can happen, and hence you have movies that actually don't look up.
There's something you don't like the looks of.
We discovered a very large comet.
Oh, good for you. It's headed directly towards Earth.
Or not Armageddon, but Deep Impact.
Last summer, 2 comets were discovered that are on a collision course with Earth.
So you can have potentially those type of scenarios. But again, I would put it in that context that comets have also brought potentially water, although asteroids have also brought water. They also have organic compounds, ingredients for life, sort of like, amino acids and other kind of complex molecules that are essential for life. So their impacts on Earth have not always been just bad. In fact, we may be talking about it because comets crashed on Earth. But if they crash now, we won't be here. But whether that's a good thing or not, that depends upon who you ask. Because, no, I'm going to go on this rant because, I mean, what we are doing to the environment, what are we doing to the other species? Would most of the other species send a thank you note to the comet? Maybe they will. So, oh, sorry, I just got distracted by that stuff. But no, but that can happen. But I don't think we can do much about it at the present time.
Okay.
But this one is not only going to not crash here, but now you can't even see it.
Not for another 400 years.
Unless you go to the southern hemisphere by next week.
Plan a trip.
Plan a trip.
The discovery of comets has led to many other interesting cascading discoveries from some of the most famous astronomers through history.
Right. So, I mean, I find the importance of comets, and this goes back to this thing that we are just talking about it. Oh, yeah, the comet, yeah, it came and, yeah, we didn't see it because it was raining. Yeah. Ah, boo-hoo. but actually, historically, they have been crucial. Of course, Shakespeare mentioned it in his play Julius Caesar.
When beggars die, there are no comets seen. The heavens themselves blaze forth the death of princes.
Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once.
That's because there is an actual temple in Greece dedicated to Julius Caesar, or its temple of the comet. And that was because after the death of Julius Caesar, there were games that were held in his honor. And at the start of the games, a bright comet appeared, and his son Octavius, who later on became Emperor Augustus, he said, aha, look, this is the soul of Julius Caesar going to the heavens. And he made him basically divine. And of course, it was good also because he was the son. So,
yeah, totally.
Adopted
I hope
son.
my kids believe I'm divine when I'm dead.
Right, exactly. So, and then he dedicated this temple to that, and he minted coins with comet on it. So just think about it, 44 or 42 BCE, and you have coins which have comet on it, and it played, of course, a role in the history of Rome. So here is just one example of it. But more to our point, our relevance to us, is that there was a debate where, from Aristotle's time, or Aristotle's theories, from Aristotle's perspective, there are 2 big realms. Something that is below the moon, or sublunar, where all the things change. But there is the other realm, which is beyond the moon, supralunar, where things are just perfect. That's the realm of the gods. And you cannot have any change, because any change from perfection is imperfection. Mm-hmm. So if you are perfect, then nothing changes. So this was the big sort of a cosmological model in some sense that we lived in, that, well, beyond the moon, nothing happens. So then, of course, as you can see, comets used to come. Comets, you could see comets. Where are they coming from? Well, the idea was that probably those are atmospheric phenomena. Those are not beyond the moon, because, of course, beyond the moon, things don't change.
Yeah.
And
that's not true, kids. It's Aristotle's view.
Right, yeah. That's right. Thank you. But Tycho Brahe, one of the Danish astronomers, he observed a comet in the 16th century in 1577. It was a bright comet. And he measured a distance to that comet through parallax, by the way. This is sort of like, the way to measure distances. And he found that it was at least 4 times the distance to the moon. And he could demonstrate that. And at that time, by that time, Aristotle's ideas were already being thrown out for various sort of like centuries. People had been looking at that. But this was a pretty big evidence that actually, no, this is beyond the moon. So things definitely change beyond the moon. And then Tycho Brahe's student was Kepler, who figured out the orbits of planets, and came up with the planetary laws. And his data and his observations led to Newton, who came up with the gravitational theory. And one of his contemporaries was Edmund Halley, who predicted the path of, or the reappearance of Halley's, he didn't call it the Halley's Comet, but the comet that will return in 76 years, and then it turned out to be what we call Halley's Comet, and the prediction turned out to be just perfect. So again, thinking in terms of that we can see things, and we can predict that, hey, you see this thing that you are seeing right now? It's going to be back in 76 years, and it shows up. That is power of science, power of thinking, but also the beauty of comets.
Coming up, an update on how much money was raised during the farm stand fundraiser for the Massachusetts Farm Resiliency Fund yesterday.
And another one of your gone but not forgotten memories of places in the 413.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on NEPM.
Ooh. Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monte Belmonte. We'd asked listeners to give us emails about what is gone from the Fabulous 413, but in their minds, not forgotten. Paying homage to that great segment on the television show Connecting Point, which emanated from WGBY here.
Indeed.
And we got a great email from Mike Hunsicker in Leiden, Massachusetts.
From early 1988 until late 1992, I worked at a store called Del Padre in the video rental half of the store. They also sold and rented TVs, VCRs, stereo equipment, as well as furniture.
Del Padre was located at 60 Wells Street in Greenfield from sometime in the early 80s until they closed the doors and went out of business sometime in 1994.
It was the first and for several years the only video cassette rental store in Greenfield. Del Padre was a family-owned business. Their original store was located in Springfield, but they expanded over time to Westfield and Greenfield. The family atmosphere in the store was apparent.
During the peak of the video rental boom in the mid-'80s, long before the invention of DVD and the internet as we know it today, and anything like video streaming, which was strictly stuff of science fiction movies, the Greenfield store was a constantly busy hub of activity in the Greenfield community.
It was inevitable that one would run into friends and family there no matter when you went, at a mere $1 per day rental fee per movie. Oh my gosh. It was a deal that everyone wanted in on. And if you didn't own a VCR, they were still pretty expensive then, costing hundreds of dollars. You could rent one of those too.
It was commonplace for total strangers to break into spontaneous discussions about movies in general, as well as ask for or provide recommendations. People would often say to us something like, I was bored and I thought I might rent a movie, but I really just wanted to see who I might bump into here.
The overall friendly atmosphere created by both the employees and patrons made it into an enjoyable place to work and definitely sparked my lasting love of movies.
The store in its role of being an inevitable and looked forward to stop, often daily, for just about everyone around may be gone, but definitely not forgotten.
We were all constantly aware of one little catchphrase in those long gone days at the video store, and the underlying sentiment can be applied to most things in life. Please be kind and rewind.
Words to live by. Thank you for sending that, Mike Hunsicker in Leiden, Massachusetts. I'd never heard of that
video. That itself is
store.
Also a really good movie. Anyway.
Yes. Well, Be Kind, Rewind.
Yes.
Yes, that is excellent. That reminds me of Pleasant Street Video, where I spent an awful lot of time talking to Bill Dwight and Philip Price across the counter, talking about movies or watching the Red Sox on the TV behind them.
And also for the otaku and me, the comic book store in the Hampshire Mall that used to rent out anime.
Tomorrow on the Fabulous 413. Oh, I forgot about the update. We raised, with your help and other people's help and the radio stations in Northampton's help, over $27,000. And businesses' help as well for families. For farmers in the 413 through that farm stand. So
to that we say, keep going.
Yeah, they still need your help. It's still flooding and raining and maybe hurricaning.
Seriously.
I'm Monte Belmonte.
I'm Khalees Smith. We'll see you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413.